there's 200 meetings between now and the big BRICS meeting. So there'll be meetings every day and just about new developments every day. And you're right, and you said something interesting. You know, some people would say that I've been saying this same thing for 2.5 years, 3 years. I almost four. I get it. But look at the progression, right? So it hasn't been all at once. And that's why I'm fond of that term logarithmic decay, little by little by little by little by little by little by little, then bang, all at once. It's a game of Jenga. So, this has been going on for a long time, 17 years to be exact, that the BRICS have been, what started as a term that was, I think, coined by a trader, Goldman Sachs or something, has now turned into something very legitimate. The acceleration of this foundation, of this formation in every scope in terms of significance, GDP, human population, military might, commodity share, shipping lanes, everything. And it's being done methodically until it's all at once. And so you're right, it will seem like all at once to most people, but to the rest of us who have been hanging on, it will be like, my gosh, that took a long time. And I don't know what it is that breaks it, but I do think that it's true. You can only manipulate a market for a very long period of time, extended, by pushing it in the direction it's going. And what is different now, Chris, than the years that I've been doing this is that there is way more recognition, not as much by the mainstream. That's still, we're tertiary, if you will, kind of on the side of what people see in the mainstream, but certainly by the most well-informed traders in the world, the central banks, the commercial banks, the family offices, the sovereign wealth funds. Gold and silver is not lost on them. And I think it will be lost on the majority of the public, and a lost opportunity for the majority of the public.
In this finance discussion, Andy Shechtman examines market manipulation and its prolonged effects. Over 200 meetings precede the significant BRICS summit, revealing ongoing developments. Shechtman explains logarithmic decay, highlighting BRICS's systematic rise over 17 years in GDP, population, and military strength. He warns of the waning supremacy of the West and emphasizes the importance of gold and silver. Cautioning against overlooking commodity repositioning, Shechtman envisions a future where commodities dominate. As tensions rise, including talks of confiscating Russian forex reserves, he suggests a shift in global dynamics.
Because if you see things being bled dry the way that they are at the highest level of supply, that will have a trickle-down effect. And it's unfortunate that it's kind of going out this way, that the mainstream, that the public who really should have an allocation to metals is not noticing it because of the price and rhetoric suppression that the in-the-know people across the globe, I believe, are using against us, using that leverage, using that suppression that we developed and we employ against us, so that they can slowly and methodically, without raising too much attention, reposition themselves into the things that Zoltan Pozsar would say are relevant in this new system. He said it will be a system that will be all about commodities, and that's what this is. So yeah, I think we are heading into that world where debt instruments and opaque promises are secondary to commodities and transparency, like blockchain. So it is a new world. We are heading in that direction. And the suppression of the West, and really the hegemony of the West, I think, is cracking, and it's in its last stages of supremacy. So, I mean, I could argue we've lost the hegemony already. We still have our supremacy, but how long does that last? At what point does this confidence break? And when we have our brain dead Treasury Secretary, gallivanting to Brazil, in a public meeting, saying we need to confiscate Russian forex reserves in Brazil, a member of BRICS. I mean, how close are we to that moment? And I would argue it's getting closer and closer and closer.
Continuing the discussion, Andy Shechtman delves deeper into the manipulative tactics observed in the precious metals market. He vividly describes instances of drive-by shootings in the market, emphasizing how dumping gold or silver during off-market hours deliberately seeks the worst settlement price. Shechtman passionately criticizes the AM and PM fixing practices, pointing out Dmitry Spek's charts showing consistent downward trends during these fixed times, indicating manipulation. He stresses that such actions defy the principles of free markets and praises the work of Chris Powell and Bill Murphy in exposing these manipulations through the Gold Antitrust Action Committee.
When you see that type of dumping at the PM fix, right, when London closes before New York opens in what's called the access market, I mean, that's a drive-by shooting. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, that trader, if was done intentionally, would be shot and fired, and probably in that order, because, you know, to dump a tremendous amount of gold or silver in the access market when, you know, people are on their way home or asleep and there's virtually no traffic in that marketplace, is done specifically to get the worst price, the worst settlement price. And these are things that I've been screaming about forever, is the AM fix and the PM fix, where over time, if you look at the Dimitri Speck charts, where he takes 10 years worth of market action and puts them into a graph, and it's just straight down at the AM fix and straight down at the PM fix. It's highly manipulative, no matter what the excuse is. You know, and I listen to Rick Rule. He's very eloquent and makes a very compelling argument about the way he describes it. But I memean, as far as I'm concerned, there is no way to describe it other than highly manipulative, so that it always opens up in New York on the downswing. And you know, there was a time where a man worked for me named Andy Hoffman, and was prolific in his research and his writing. And he showed at one point, this was I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, it was all the time. And I haven't looked at it lately, but, you know, maybe 7, 8 years ago, where somewhere in the neighborhood of 95% of the Sunday evenings into Monday morning, it opened up lower into New York. And you just wonder, I mean, at what point does it become obvious that this is not how free markets work? So as Chris Powell of GATA says, and again, everyone should donate a few bucks to GATA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee. Everybody should. We all owe them a debt of gratitude. Anyone that owns gold and silver owes Bill Murphy and Chris Powell a thank you. And I know they would love even $10 donation. And I don't make anything for that. I appreciate what they've done. They've stuck their neck out longer than anybody for this market, for all of us. But he says there are no free markets anymore, just manipulations. And, you know, most of it is in the interest rate market, the LIBOR markets. All of these markets where prices are derived through interest rate settlement have been manipulated. And what better market to suppress than the canary in the gold mine, gold and silver? And there are lots of other reasons I think that silver in particular is suppressed. But look, you can only suppress a market or manipulate a market for an extended period of time by pushing it in the direction it's going. And when the world is buying gold and silver the way that they are right now, in all commodities, base metals, soft commodities, corn and soybeans and wheat and everything, these countries are buying commodities. As Zoltan Pozsar says, Bretton Woods 3 is all about commodities and transparency. And this is where we're going. So I don't know. I think the ability to continue to flash crash gold and silver, if you will, and it's really not a flash crash, it's just manipulative every evening into the morning. It's becoming a very dangerous game. In fact, I don't know, other than the Royal Canadian Mint, I can't think of any other fractional coins. And the Canadian Mint does make some pretty cool half-ounce coins that we've sold from time to time. I forgot what they are.
The polar bear.
Yeah, that's it. And they're cool. They come in boxes of 240 coins. It's a little box about this big. But no, I don't know. It would be cool if they did. I would love to have some if they did, but I've never been told that they are planning it. But that was legal tender currency, not a. There's a difference between legal tender and it being currency. And yeah, that's the neat thing about junk silver. It's very fractional. It's very gives you great utility and is made by the Treasury rather than the Federal Reserve. I like that point. 70 million ounces. Well, you know, who knows where it comes from? I mean, they've imported over 400 million ounces in the last 2 years. 70 million in February, I believe, was the number. And that's almost exactly, now it's saying this is where it came from, but look at the amount of silver that's been bled off of the COMEX in the last 2 years. It's pretty damn close to 400 million ounces. And so they are taking it from wherever they can get it. And whether it be refining coming out of Zurich or deliveries off of COMEX or the LBMA, this is what I mean by you can't suppress a market when the direction is the opposite. It's trying to hold back a giant wave with a piece of plywood. It doesn't work. And when we suppress the paper price. And I talked about this with the new BRICS currencies, where they've said, they came out, the guy comes out and publicly says that, he says, for the moment, price is determined by Western speculation. We produce these commodities, we consume them, but we do not have our own price mechanism. He says it's impossible to make any strategic planning for economic development if you do not control the prices of basic commodities. Price formation with this new currency should get rid of the Western exchanges of commodities. I mean, they know what we're doing. They know that we're holding back the price and they're using it against us. And India is part of BRICS. They are part of the group that understands that if you suppress these unnaturally, these commodities that are not just industrial. Look, Canada's trying to there's a whole movement in Canada trying to call silver strategic, and it is strategic. It's strategic for India and it's strategic for all of us. And this manipulation will end badly, because when they started doing it, these countries weren't standing for delivery, but they are now.
Today's discussion with Andy Shechtman has been eye-opening, shedding light on the intricacies of market manipulation and its profound impact on the precious metals market. We've learned about the significance of the upcoming BRICS summit and the systematic rise of BRICS over the past 17 years. Shechtman's insights into the manipulation tactics during AM and PM fixing, as well as the suppression of gold and silver prices, are crucial for understanding market dynamics. As we navigate through these complexities, it's evident that commodities are gaining traction over debt instruments, signaling a shift in global dynamics. We appreciate you joining us for this enlightening discussion. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful content like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below.